everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the virtual info session for the 13th annual Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest. My name is Vicky Murakami-Tsuda. I'm the digital program manager at the Japanese American National Museum. We have people from the Little Tokyo Historical Society and here who will be introducing themselves in just a little bit. We also have Yoko Nishimura, the project manager for JANM's Discover Nikkei project. Um, Discover Nikkei is JANM's international community-based web project with major funding from the Nippon Foundation, launched in 2025. We just celebrated Discover Nikkei's 20th anniversary last year. Sites in 4 languages, English, Japanese, Spanish, and Portuguese, and we share unique stories about Nikkei all around the world, including US, Brazil, Japan, Peru, Canada, Argentina, Mexico, and many other countries. And we publish new stories daily on the website, including short stories, some of the winning and honorable mention stories from the Imagine Little Tokyo short story contest. So we are very excited to be partnering with Little Tokyo Historical Society once again. Um, and this program is being presented as part of JANM's JANM on the Go initiative. It's the lively schedule of special exhibitions, polar programs, family festivals, education programs, and more um, throughout on JANM, throughout Little Tokyo, LA, Southern California, beyond, and virtually, while the museum is closed for renovations. Um, One little plug, tomorrow, if you are interested, we are hosting a virtual symposium called Undercurrents, Tracing Shared Histories from Japan to California. We invite you to join researchers, curators, filmmakers, and descendants as they trace connections between the coastlines of Japan and California. These connections reveal an interconnected history of migration, industry, art, and culture. So if you are interested, I will put the link to learn more about the event and to register in the chat. It is free. Um, this program is being presented also as part of Discovering Nikkei's programs. We invite you to check out our upcoming well, we don't have any announced yet, but we will be having some more soon. We recently actually our last program was in December. It was a poetry reading curated by Tracy Kato Kiriyama, featuring poets Aaron Kasedo Kimura, Erica Isamura, and Sid Wesley. And we were honored to be joined by acclaimed poet Mitsuya Yamada. So if you are interested in watching that, I will put the link in the chat so you can watch it. Also, we recently had, for those of you who attended last year's Imagine Little Tokyo celebration, the MC from that event, Christopher Sean, we recently interviewed him with guest host Tamlin Tamita. And if you're interested in learning more about Christopher Sean, I just threw the link in the chat to watch that. And finally, one last plug, Discover Nikkei. Um, we we're now 20, almost 21 years of the website, and we are looking ahead to the next phase of Discover Nikkei, and we want you all to be part of that. And so we just recently launched a survey to get people's input on what you'd like to see from Discover Nikkei now and into the future. So if we would really appreciate if people would help us by filling that out. Um, Without further ado, again, Discover Nikkei is very excited to be partnering with the Historical Society on the Imagine Little Tokyo short story contest again. And we look forward to publishing the winning stories on Discover Nikkei. And now I will be turning it over to DC Palter, who will kick us off.
Thanks, Vicky. Let me share my screen here. So welcome, everybody. This is the 13th annual Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest information session. The Little Tokyo Short Story Contest is run by the Little Tokyo Historical Society with collaboration with the Japanese American National Museum and Discover Nikkei Project. So thank you all for coming today. If you would like, it'd be nice if you could, in the chat, maybe type in where you're coming from and how you heard about this contest. That'd be really useful information. So thank you all for coming today, and we look forward to reading your stories. My name is DC Palter. I was the contest winner in 2023, and along with in English, along with Satsuki, we did a story together in Japanese in 2024. And then last year, I was promoted to being one of the judges. So I was able to read everybody else's story. So we're going to give you a perspective from the point of view of writer, as well as from the judges. With me today, I have Satsuki, who is an Ikebana artist and the 2024 winner in the Japanese category, and Mike Okamura, who's the president of the Little Tokyo Historical Society, who's going to give you an introduction to Little Tokyo. So both of you would like to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
Hello. こんにちは。
Okay, so here's our agenda for today, and we're doing this in both English and Japanese. So Satsuki is going to follow as I go through the details. She's going to follow with the Japanese. So we'll start off. We already did the presenter introductions, so we'll talk about the short story contest.
まず、プレゼンテーターからの紹介、あと、ショートストーリーコンテストについて、お話しします。
So we'll talk about what is the contest. We'll talk about the 3 categories and the prizes. Oh, I'm supposed to stop after each one. Go ahead. Satsuki.
はい。まず、コンテストについて、また、応募部門と賞金のこと、
What the rules for the contest are,
また、コンテストのルールについて、
the application process,
応募方法、
the judging,
審査、
the award ceremony, and the fun with that.
授賞式について、
Okay. Then we'll switch to an introduction to Little Tokyo for those of you who are not familiar with the neighborhood.
それから、LA のリトル東京についての紹介、
And then some tips from Satsuki and I as writers and judges, how to write a winning story.
それからこのコンテストに、どうすれば優勝しやすいかというヒントとかを、受賞者と審査員からお伝えします。
Okay, so we'll start off with what is the Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest?
まず、リトル東京ショートストーリーコンテストはどんなことかと、説明いたします。
So we need to start off with probably the most important takeaway from today's call is what is the point of the story contest? And that is to raise awareness of Los Angeles's Little Tokyo neighborhood.
まず、このコンテストの目的は、ロサンゼルスの歴史あるリトル東京の地区の知名度を高めることにあります。
So, no surprise, the story that you write for the contest needs to be set in Little Tokyo.
ということで、作品の舞台はリトル東京であることが大事です。
And as judges, what we're looking for is stories that capture the spirit and sense of Little Tokyo.
審査員は、どのポイントを見ているかというと、リトル東京の精神と雰囲気がちゃんとそのストーリーに入っているかどうかを審査します。
If you capture that, you will win.
もしそれがちゃんと入っていれば、優勝するかもしれません。
So there's 3 separate categories. There's adult English,
そう、3部門あります。 まずは、大人の方、英語部門。
There's English youth, which means 18 years or younger, as the writer, not for the readers, but the writer must be 18 years or under.
次は、18歳以下の、人が書く、英語部門。
And the third category is Japanese language.
で、3番目の部門は日本語部門となります。
And what you all want to know is what's the prizes? So, and this is really good for a short story contest. Each of the three categories has a separate $500 prize.
またこの、コンテスト3部門ありますが、各部門の優勝者へ$500が、賞金として与えられます。
Your story is then published in the Rafu Shimpo newspaper in both English and Japanese. So if it's written in English, it'll be translated to Japanese. If it's written in Japanese, it'll be translated to English, but it'll be published in the Rafu Shimpo newspaper.
で、また優勝者の作品は、ラフ新報というこのローカルな、LA の新聞に掲載されます。英語で出されたものは英語と、あと日本語に訳されたもの、それと違います。日本語のものは英語に訳された文も両方掲載されます。
And it will also be posted on the Discover Nikkei website in both English and Japanese.
また、ディスカバー日経のウェブサイトにも、日英、両方で掲載されます。
So the rules, and there's 2 pages of rules. The story, as we said, must be set in Little Tokyo, and that can be in the past, can be the current Little Tokyo, or it could be a future Little Tokyo, but it has to be Little Tokyo.
このコンテストには応募の条件がございます。まず、舞台はリトル東京であること。そして、時代設定は過去でも現在でも未来でも、いずれでも大丈夫です。
It must be fictional. It's a short story contest. It could be, it can be personal memoir that's changed, it can have some truth to it, but it needs to be a fictional story.
また、その作品は、その各本人の創作のものであること。体験のものでもいいですし、でもその人が作った話でないといけません。
It must be never previously published, and that means online as well. So if you wrote the story and put it on Wattpad or wrote the story and put it up on your website or your blog, that's previously published. So that is not allowed. It needs to be a story that has never been published.
また、書かれた作品は過去に何にも掲載しなかったもの、未発表のものでないといけません。
If you've submitted a story in previous years, you cannot submit the same story again.
また、過去にこのコンテストとかに応募された作品をもう一回同じものを応募することはできません。
Right, so here's your biggest challenge. The length. It's hard to write a short story, but length limit is 2,500 words for English or gosenji, 5,000 characters for Japanese.
またこの、作品は英語だと2500ワード、日本語だと5000字以内に収めないといけません。ここが一番難しいところだと思います。
Okay, and I shouldn't have to say it, but we'll say it anyway. No AI, no plagiarism. It needs to be your original story.
また作品はご自分で書かないで AI で作成したり、それはダメです。また他の方のを盗用したり、それも認められません。
In terms of the application, we would like it submitted in Doc or DocX format. It makes it much easier for us.
また作品は、ドキュメントは Doc か DocX のファイル形式で提出してください。
Standard, we ask that you use what's called standard manuscript form, which in English is 12 point times Roman, 1 inch margins, double spaced. Japanese is a little different, but it's standard manuscript form.
また、各形式はフォントのサイズ、また、フォント、どのフォントであるか、これが、決められていますので、ここに書いてあるのに従ってください。
And because the stories are sent to the judges blind, we don't want your name on the file. So don't say by DC Palter. Don't have that in the file format. Don't have it in the properties of the file either. So please remove your name from everywhere. Your name will go on the email so that we can track it. But in the story itself, please remove your name.
そう、書かれた作品のファイルには、ご自分のお名前は絶対に掲載しないでください。あと、ファイルの中とか、あと、ファイル名、すべてあなたのお名前は書かないでください。E メールの本文の中に、情報を書くことになっています。
Okay, you will submit the story as an email attachment to imaginelittletokyo at gmail.com. And in the subject line, you'll put short story.
また、提出は E メールに限られておりまして、ここの、書かれているところへ送信してください。で、件名はショートストーリーと書いてください。
In the text of the email, that's where we need your name. So include your name, your email, and your phone number.
そしてその、作品を添付するメールの本文には、ご自分のお名前、メールアドレス、電話番号などを記載してください。
If you're submitting for the youth category, include your age as well.
また、18歳以下の部門に、投稿される場合は、実際の年齢も記載してください。
And there is an entry form on the Little Tokyo Historical Society website that you'll need to download. You'll need to fill in. You'll need to sign stating that you didn't use AI, that you didn't plagiarize, and that is your story. You'll need to fill that out and attach that file as well to the email.
ここに記載されているサイトにコンテストの規約っていうのがありまして、そこを全部お読みになって、署名して、E メールに添付してください。
The
内容
deadline,
は盗用と
sorry.
か AI で作ったものでないというようなことを、自分が証明するというような内容になっています。
The deadline is February 28th. So you have a month and a half to write and finish your stories and get it submitted.
また、応募の、期限がございまして、2月の末日、2月28日の、太平洋時間で11時59分までに、送信してください。
And that's a hard deadline, so make sure you get it in by that date.
また、この、期限を過ぎてからの応募は受け付けませんので、お気をつけください。
The way the judging works is because we get, I think last year we had close to 200 stories. The first thing we will do is there are screeners that will go through all the stories and in each category and pick the top 10. And those top 10 are sent to the official judges.
そう、こちらに、応募された作品は、たくさんあるのですが、決まりにそぐわないものとかいろいろございますので、事前に、調査し、そしてその中から、上位10作を審査員に渡すっていうようになっています。
Each category, there are 3 judges.
各部門には3人の審査員がいます。
And there's not a rubric. Each judge or each group of judges will set their own criteria for how they are going to judge the stories.
そう、各、審査員は独自に審査するので、別に相談するっていうことはありません。
But we always come back to that primary guideline that I mentioned. Does it capture the spirit of Little Tokyo?
また、その審査のポイントは、リトル東京の雰囲気をつかめているかどうかを、ポイントとしています。
And then the fun part, the award ceremony.
そして表彰式というものがございます。
And this is like an Academy Awards show. So most short story contests, you get an email saying, "Hey, you won, congratulations." We'll put out, something on social media. The great thing about Little Tokyo, Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest is we actually have an event in person, that's, broadcast. It's a big event and it's a lot of fun.
そう全部説明してくださいましたが、この表彰式というものは、夏の土曜日なんですけれども、こちらの午前中になりますが、ございます。で、会場に集まって、そして優勝者を発表し、俳優さんがその、優勝作品を朗読してくれます。また、そこの会場に行けない人は、ズームで、同時に、参加することができます。
The award ceremony is, I don't know if the date is set yet. It depends on the availability at the Janum Theater. But it is usually a Saturday in summertime. That's where we announce the winners. And then the great thing is that each of the stories is read by an actor. And so it really turns into a performance. It's great if you can join in person, if you happen to be in Los Angeles. If not, you can join by Zoom.
もう説明
You
しま
already
したが。
explained
は
that part.
い。でも、そのセレモニーがリコーディングされて、後でウェブサイトで、聞くこともできます。
All right, so I'm going to turn the next section over to Mike to give us a little bit introduction to Little Tokyo. So I put some details here. Do you want to go through those, Mike?
Yes, I will. Thank you very much, DC and Satsuki-san. So again, my name is Mike Okamura, the president of the Little Tokyo Historical Society. So to start off with, Little Tokyo this year, 2026, is celebrating its 142nd anniversary. It is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city of Los Angeles, and it has historic sites throughout this compact 3 blocks by 3 blocks neighborhood, which is just east of the Los Angeles River. It is the largest Japantown in the United States. There are 4 Japantowns in California. Actually, the designated Japantowns are in California. Before World War II, there were over 40 Japantowns throughout this state, but now there are only 4 remaining: Los Angeles, Little Tokyo, San Francisco Japantown, San Jose Japantown, and on the west side of LA is Sawtelle Japantown. As I mentioned, Little Tokyo is just located east of the Los Angeles River, and it is an important cultural and ethnic hub of downtown LA. 3 blocks by 3 blocks, as you can see here on the diagram. Essentially, the boundaries are First Street is the main thoroughfare through Little Tokyo, and it is surrounded by the boundary on the west side is Los Angeles Street. On the east side is Alameda Street. The northern boundary is essentially Temple Street, and the southern boundary is 3rd Street. So if you can imagine just these 3 blocks, it contains 3 blocks by 3 blocks. It contains quite a bit of history. If you have a chance to come to Little Tokyo, as you walk around, you will notice very unique architecture that date back over 100 years ago. The oldest structure in the neighborhood dates to 1882. It is on the north side of First Street. It is the A. Spurl Building. Little Tokyo started in 1884 with the first Japanese-owned business named Kame Restaurant. So that was in 1884. It's on the south side of First Street. the current location is where Bunkado gift shop is. There is a historic naming site plaque on the bottom of the wall of Bunkado. So when you come into Little Tokyo and you use the crosswalk on First Street, you will see that plaque, and it's Bunkado is right next to Koyasan Buddhist Temple. So there's plenty of shopping, restaurants, cultural institutions, religious institutions. It's very popular, especially with the Japan pop culture, so prevalent with manga and anime. There's so much that Little Tokyo offers, and you can easily access it through or by metro. There's the Little Tokyo Arts District Station. It's very convenient. It drops you right into the heart of Little Tokyo. So if you can go to the next slide, please.
Actually, before we do that, Satsuki, do you want to go
Yes.
through at least
Yes. Sorry about that.
the information on the slide?
Okay, so, 日本人町っていうのはたくさんあったんですけど、第二次世界大戦後は40ぐらい、この日本人町がありました。で、今残ってるのは4つで、ロサンゼルス、サンフランシスコ、サンフゼ、そして、このもう一つはソーテルといって、このウェスト LA にございます。で、この LA の、日本人町はダウンタウンにあります。この地図でわかりますように、ファーストストリートとサードストリート、それとアラミダとロサンゼルス通りで囲まれているこの範囲にあります。で、また140年の歴史がございます。で、日系社会の中心となっています。で、このあたりは、日本のお店、それからレストラン、飲食店、日本のマーケットなどあって、とても流行っています。で、今は漫画、アニメが流行っているので、すごく賑わっております。で、その中には、日系の美術館や、日系のコミュニティセンター、また、教会、日系の教会、そしてお寺などがございます。
And this is a map you can download or you can look at online with a lot of the landmarks. But we're going to go through a short number of them just to give you a little bit of a feel.
Yes. Okay, so this first image is of the Japanese Village Plaza. It connects First Street to Second Street as you stroll through this very quaint shopping center lined with shops on both sides. It's reminiscent of what you would perhaps see in Japan, maybe a rural area of Japan. The blue tile roofs are the roof tiles were imported from Japan. So this shopping center dates back to the late 1970s. It's a local development and it's a very popular place, specifically for treats, for ramen. There's a supermarket there where you can get a variety of items that you would find in Japan. There are performances at the stage area on the weekends, and just many people come here. And I think if you had the opportunity, and you just do people watching, as you see here on the slide, you get a sense of the essence and spirit of what one part of Little Tokyo is. So next slide, please. This particular shot or vantage point is become very popular because it has the artistic mural of Shohei Ohtani, the phenom of the LA Dodgers. Ohtani, this mural was painted by artist Robert Vargas over a year ago, and it's on the side of the Miyako Hotel. So many people who attend the LA Dodgers games at Dodger Stadium, they might come to Little Tokyo via driving in or through the metro station, and they'll take photographs of themselves as a selfie with this in the background, and they'll catch the metro back to Union Station to get to the Dodger Stadium. To the left of the Miyako Hotel, as you see, that's the icon for Little Tokyo, and that's the Yagura Fire Tower. part of the Japanese Village Plaza, and in many of the short stories in the past, we have seen this as a prominent feature in the stories, and that's wonderful. But throughout Little Tokyo, you get a sense again of what's unique about this cultural neighborhood of LA. It gives you a sense of perhaps Japan, a large city of Japan, but also what the history of Los Angeles has been, because you go through parts of downtown and you drop into Little Tokyo or nearby Chinatown or just as close El Pueblo, historic Filipino town. Each of these ethnic neighborhoods have very unique characteristic traits. Little Tokyo, as I mentioned, has a 142-year-old history, and included in that history is during World War II, when the Japanese American and Japanese were incarcerated, forcibly removed from Little Tokyo and along the West Coast and put into concentration camps in the interior of the United States, including California. During this period, Little Tokyo lost its Japanese community, but replacing it pretty quickly was the African American community, and the neighborhood was designated, it was coined Bronzeville. So that in itself, with African Americans living in Little Tokyo or Bronzeville at that time, from 1942 through roughly 1946, it had a very different vibe. So when you come to the unique neighborhood and you peer down on the sidewalk on the north side of First Street, you'll see a timeline, and that is an art installation. You can see what was once part of Little Tokyo, what businesses were there, but it also includes homage to the historic Bronzeville neighborhood at the time. So, next slide, please. Weller Court is a shopping center to the left, and the tall structure also on the left is the Doubletree Hotel by Hilton. When the property was developed in the mid 1980s, it originally was the hotel was the New Otani Hotel and Garden and the Weller Court Shopping Center, as it is today. But the history prior to that, along Weller Street, that leads straight, you can see down LA City Hall in the background. During the late 1940s, early 1950s, this entire area was, through eminent domain by the city of LA, it was demolished to make way for development, redevelopment, modernization. So you find that the shopping center and the hotel and this pedestrian walkway was completed, but there was quite a bit of displacement of elderly people, senior citizens, many from Japan that had arrived in America in the early 20th century, but they were living in these small single room occupancy hotels along Weller Street and Second Street. They were evicted from the property, and all of this development occurred. So this part of Little Tokyo, this one quadrant along, and now it's called Onizuka Street, which is named after astronaut Ellison Onizuka, the first Japanese American astronaut to go into space aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. That I think some of you are aware that the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded upon entry. Just at 73 seconds after liftoff, it exploded. And so the 7 astronauts perished. But there is a small model of the Space Shuttle Challenger that is dedicated to those 7 astronauts. So that is a unique art piece. in Little Tokyo. Throughout Little Tokyo, if you're paying attention, walking around, taking a stroll, there is a considerable amount of public art and private art. So in that sense, it's a very unique canvas for the city of LA. Art is everywhere. So come on down and just explore that as a different kind of journey. Okay, next slide, please. Here we see the Japanese American National Museum. It is one of the cultural gemstones of the neighborhood. And it came on, this building specifically is the Pavilion Building. To its left, you cannot see in this photo, is the first building of the Japanese American National Museum, or JANM, the historic building. It's in the refurbished Nishi-Honganji Buddhist Temple. The temple itself no longer has the congregation. The congregation they left that structure and they moved to its current location, 1.5 block east of the museum. It's still on First Street and Vigna Street, just east of Alameda Street. But the historic building with JANM opened in 1992. That is the largest and most important artifact of the JANM collection. This pavilion building currently with the gallery space, it is temporarily closed due to major renovation that will open in October, November of this year. And so we hope to see you back to the Japanese American National Museum. And there is a third building as part of the JANM campus. It's the National Center for the Preservation of Democracy. That includes the Tateuchi Democracy Forum. The forum will be the site of the awards ceremony for the short story contest on July 11th, Saturday, from 2 o'clock. So this is the intersection of First Street and Central Avenue. So next slide, please. Then on Second Street, just a couple blocks away from that intersection, is the Japanese American Cultural and Community Center, another cultural and iconic figure of the unique neighborhood. It was the first very large redevelopment in the 1980s, and it was designed with local architect. I believe it's Hayase, Mr. I can't remember his name, but a local architect. And we see the main building. On the right side, to the left, is the Aratani Theater, and on the bottom of that photograph is the James Irvine Japanese Garden. And the garden itself is unfortunately not accessible to the public at this time, but it is a beautiful garden. It's an award-winning garden from the early 1980s. And then to the left of that photograph is the Aratani Theater that seats nearly 800 capacity. It has many cultural performances. It also is the host of the Nisei Week Japanese Festival coronation ceremony for the new Nisei Week Queen in Court in August. And this Sunday there will be a very unique Japanese buyo dancing performance that will celebrate the 30th anniversary of Bando Hidesomi. It is her recital. So a variety of different performances have been held at the Aratani Theater for nearly 40 years. Okay. Next, please. This is a fun photograph of the largest Japanese American festival in the United States, as well as the oldest, the Nisei Week Japanese Festival. This summer, the 2nd and 3rd August, will celebrate its 83rd year. The only time that the festival was not held was the 9 years during part of World War II. The last festival was August of 1941, and then it restarted in August of 1949. And then, of course, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I believe it was 2 years that the parade, the grand parade, and in this shot, this is the street Ondo, very popular Japanese dancing and everyone is welcome to join in and have fun doing traditional folk dancing. If you don't know how to dance, you just jump into the line here and you can follow the easy dance steps of these different Japanese dance schools and teachers. And the ladies here dressed in the black hoppy coat, that is the Nikkei port. I don't recall what year that is, but roughly it looks like it would be maybe 7 years ago or so, maybe not even that. But and then the large costume person there or figure is Aki, the Akita dog, who is the mascot for the Nikkei Japanese Festival. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, can you go back to the previous slide? Sorry, I'll just do this quickly. On the background of this photograph is the historic landmark district of Little Tokyo. Those buildings date back to, some are 100 years old. The one in the center, the white building, it's dated to 1882, the A Spurl building. So you get a sense of what Little Tokyo was like 100 years ago. And that side of First Street is protected by the Department of Interior, and it's preserved in its glory days. So when you walk along that side of First Street, you look at the sidewalk and you get a sense of what used to be there because it is etched into the sidewalk. It is part of the art installation. So, okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Then we have here a beautiful Buddhist temple, Higashi Honganji, that is on the corner of 3rd Street and Central Avenue, and this building dates from the late 1970s. The original Higashi Honganji Buddhist Temple was located in the historic neighborhood just east of Little Tokyo, Boyle Heights. So that community, it still has a small Japanese American presence with some Buddhist temples, as well as well-known and iconic Japanese restaurant, Otomi-san, the oldest continuously run Japanese restaurant in the city of LA. The building is designated an LA City Historic Culture Monument, as well as the Victorian home behind the structure. It is called the Nishiyama Residence. Just around the corner of that famous Otomi-san restaurant is the Japanese Hospital, which is 96 years old, sorry. And it is also an LA City Historic Culture Monument. So should you catch Metro at the Little Tokyo Arts District Station and take the line E to Boyle Heights, you can exit off of the Mariachi Plaza Station or Soto Street Station, and you can walk a couple blocks east along First Street, and you'll enter into the small Japanese section of the historic neighborhood. The building behind, we're back onto this photograph. The building behind the temple is the Little Tokyo Towers. It is housing for senior citizens, and it just had its 50th anniversary last year. So Little Tokyo, the seniors originally who moved into the building, they were part of the displacement along Weller Street and Second Street when that property, that triangle parcel of land or property was developed into the Weller Court Shopping Center and New Otani Hotel and Garden. Okay, next, please.
And I think that's it, Mike. Anything else you
Yes.
want to
Thank
add?
you. Uh, yeah, as some of you may have not been to Little Tokyo, but I think if you there's quite a bit of information out there on the internet. But you could go to, for example, for some ideas, the Little Tokyo Historical Society's website, or any of the websites, Little Tokyo. Japanese American National Museum, Japanese American Culture and Community Center, for example, the Rafu Shimpo newspaper, rafu.com. It publishes every Friday, but there's a wealth of information there about Little Tokyo and the Japanese American community. Uh, Also, if you have an opportunity to be in Little Tokyo, just walk around, stroll around. Uh, at the Little Tokyo Visitors Center, there are maps that are for free. You could do self-guided walking tours and just kind of pick up some sights, sounds, smells of the neighborhood, and I think that will give you a good sense of what Little Tokyo's spirit and essence is all about. So I wish you the best of luck and much success with your short story contest. And I hope that this is just the beginning of your writing. Maybe it might be a career, but at least an interest in taking it further. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike. And my tips will pretty closely mirror what you just said. So there's going to be some repetition here.
Okay.
But Satsuki and I put together some tips on what how you can win the contest. I think that's what we're all here for. So Satsuki, you want to translate?
OK。そう、このストーリーは、リトル東京の雰囲気があることと、また、構成が整って、よくあるんですけれども、結局何が言いたいかわからないような作品もあるので、ちゃんと構成が整ってて把握できること、それと興味深いもの、読んでる人が楽しめるもの。
All right, so it's only let me go through those as well. From a judge's point of view, so first of all, as we said, you really need to capture the spirit of Little Tokyo, but it also needs to be well written, right? And it needs to be interesting to read. So I saw, as a judge, I saw a lot of stories that were set in Little Tokyo, but they were full of grammatical errors. They were hard to read. The characters didn't, it was kind of broken, right? And so it was about Little Tokyo, but it wasn't really a good story. And then we read quite a few stories that were really good stories, and they might be about Japanese culture. And they might actually have been set in Little Tokyo, but they weren't really about Little Tokyo. So those didn't really capture the spirit of Little Tokyo. So we saw a lot of good ones about Little Tokyo, a lot of good stories, but there were very few that were good stories that were about Little Tokyo. So that's really the challenge. If you capture that, you'll have a good chance of winning. A couple of things that we recommend. All of the past winners are up on the website. Go back, read those. That will give you an idea of what kind of stories are likely to win. Natsuki?
そう、過去の、作品を読んでくだされば、どういう作品がいい作品なのかっていうのが分かられると思います。過去に、出された作品で、賞をもらえなかったものは、とてもショートストーリーとしてはすごく素晴らしいんですけれども、全くリトル東京と関係ないものもございました。ので、この、過去のものをお読みになると、大体どのようなことを書けばいいかっていうのが分かると思います。
And then, as Mike said, open up. There's so much information on the web. So read the stories in Rafushimpo. Go to the Discover Nikkei website. Go to the Little Tokyo Historical website and kind of read through the stories there. And that will really give you a feel for what's going on in the Japanese community or Japanese American community in Little Tokyo.
ここに書いてあるラフ新報の記事、また、ディスカバー日経のサイトなど、また、日本文化会館のサイトなどを、ご覧になれば、大体どのようなところなのかなっていうのがわかると思います。
And as Mike said, if you're in LA, and it looks like many of you in this call are in the LA area, go to Little Tokyo, walk around, get a sense of the place.
またできれば、実際にリトル東京に行かれて、どんなところかを見られればいいと思います。その、情景や音とか匂いとか、また味など、実際につかむことができると思います。
Yeah. So don't just look at what Little Tokyo looks like. You need to do that, but also keep your ears open. What does it sound like? Take a big deep breath and smell it. What does it smell like as you walk around? Really capture that essence. Go in the restaurants and the different places and what's the taste and how is that different from other places and what's unique about Little Tokyo. Just as a writer, one of my tips is write your story, put it aside, go back and edit it, put it aside again, read it again, go back and edit it again. I think most writers will tell you writing is about 10% writing and about 90% editing. So give yourself plenty of time to read it, edit, rewrite, re-edit, and kind of go through the process and make it better and better until it's polished and it shines.
まずは、書かれて、また読み返し、また修正する。それを繰り返されれば良くなっていくと思います。
Try to get into other people's hands and not your parents who are going to say, wow, this is the greatest thing ever or your friends, but get in front of other writers or other people who can give you honest feedback and tell you, you don't want to hear that it's good. You want to hear what needs to be fixed and what needs to be better so that you can go back and get it up a level.
また、他の方に読んでもらって意見をもらうというのがいいと思います。ただ、上手とこう褒められるんじゃなくて、もうちょっとこうした方がいいじゃないのっていう意見をもらった方がいいと思います。
And this seems rather obvious, but you'd be shocked at how many of the stories we got were just full of spelling and grammar errors. So make it professional. Run a spell check, run a grammar check. It's so easy to do. Please do it.
そう、基本のことなんですけれども、誤字脱字、スペリングの間違いとかが結構ございますので、それはきっちりと、チェックして直してください。
I think that's it. So we thought we'd have 30 minutes for questions, but we have 4, but I'm happy to stick around for a while longer. So I'm going to turn off sharing and why don't we open it up for any questions you have? And that can be in English or Japanese. Miyazato-san?
はい。日本語でいいですか？
はい、どうぞ。
現代過去といろいろありますけど、賞を取るには現代がいいんですか？それとも未来がいいのか、過去がいいのか、どういうのが一番好ましいですか？
So who wants to answer that? Satsuki, you want to answer? Mike, you want to answer? You want me to answer? We could all give our opinions. Maybe we should translate it in English. Satsuki, you want to translate it in English first?
English, which is better to win? Future or now or, previous era, which is better? 私の考えとしては、お話が、整ってて、興味があるものであれば、どの時代でも大丈夫だと思います。
And that's the same answer as me. Past, present, future, doesn't matter. what matters is making a good story. I think the winning story in Japanese last year was a science fiction story set in the future. Um, Satsuki and my story was set about 30 years ago at what used to be the New Otani Hotel, and we had to be set in the past because it was at the New Otani Hotel that doesn't exist anymore. But it doesn't matter. What matters is making a good story with good characters and capturing that essence of Little Tokyo.
Thank you. じゃあもう一つ、フィクションかはノンフィクション、どちらの方が好ましいですか？
So the question should it be fiction or nonfiction? This is a short story contest, so it has to be fiction.
フィクション。OK。
So you can take a memoir or nonfiction and convert it into fiction,
OK。
fictionalize it. That's fine, but it needs to be a fictional story.
フィクション。OK。
Okay. Who else has questions?
それから一人一色、one story ですか two story でもいいんですか or must be a one story?
That's a good question. Mike, do you know, are you allowed to enter more than one story?
Just a curiosity.
We have not had that experience in the past, but Miyazato-san, you can enter more than one story.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and you have that creative mind, and we've seen many stories that weave the present, past, and future into one story. It's just how you put it together and the creativity, and it's really run the gamut or range of just a creativity for the past 12 years. So whatever your mind comes up with, and then you just hone it down to what you feel is going to be your best product. Yeah. But have fun. Of course, yes, have a lot of fun with this.
Thank you.
Mark?
Yeah, so dumb question. So for Japanese, should we assume that it's pretty fluent Japanese readers for almost all the judges, and for Ghana should only be for like really weird readings? Like we had weird name readings or something?
Yeah, the judges will be Japanese native speakers. So
Okay.
write it as you would write a Japanese story.
Okay, cool. So yeah, mostly just hiragana and weird stuff. Got it.
Anybody else?
Well, you still have well over a month to come up with a draft and just continue to work on it. And if you have an opportunity to come to Little Tokyo, and as DC and Satsuki-san was saying, just walk around and absorb everything about the different parts of the neighborhood, not just only First Street, but as we showed, Higashi Honganji is on the corner of that temple's on the corner of 3rd and Central. And then you have Weller Court. That's another part of Little Tokyo. The Go for Broke Monument is just north of the historic First Street side. So there's plenty of themes that you could kind of go in and out of in your story.
もう一ついいですか？
はい。
どうぞ。
はい。過去未来いろいろありますけど、未来に関して、リトル東京をね、もっとこうしたらいいんだとか、ニューデベロップメントとか、そういう新しいアイデアを吹き込む、そんなフィクションでもいいんでしょうか？はどうですか？
You want to answer that, Mike?
Well, can you translate it for the rest of
go
our
ahead, Satsuki.
audience?
So, is it okay? The idea in the story is how should be the little Tokyo town in the future? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have something idea if we can bring something new, ideas of the new business set up in the little Tokyo.
Yes.
That I'm
Yes.
Absolutely.
speaking, but
Yes.
that's part
Yes.
of the
It's
Absolutely.
absolutely wherever your mind takes your story,
right.
however
Right.
you want to, however creative you want to be. And again, over the past 12 years, we have seen a wide range of stories, their themes, and how it touches upon this subject matter or that or the future, past or present. And it's really enjoyable to read and just know there's so much creativity out there. So
Right.
again, yeah, however you feel you want to do the story.
Because it's been changed, used to be a real, I felt more little Tokyo, Japanese town.
I
But as
see.
you know, it's changed, right?
Hmm.
You can help, but
Yes.
I want to keep something more feeling for the Japanese town.
Yes. Well, as DC and Satsuki-san mentioned, their story had in its the thread throughout the story was the old Nuotani Hotel.
Right.
And so that, for many readers, they're not even aware of that hotel because it's been gone for some time. But it was an important part and very important time in Little Tokyo's history.
Yes.
So I think in that sense, it could be similar to what you're explaining,
Right.
or something in the future that touches upon what used to be in the past, but very different now. So yes.
And I think, and Mike, you can probably touch on this better than I can, but obviously we've said a lot of things in Little Tokyo haven't changed. It's a historical neighborhood, but as you've said, Miyazato-san, it has changed a lot and it's changing very quickly right now.
Right.
And in some ways that are good, in some ways that are not so good. And I think one of the big questions for Little Tokyo is, what is it going to be like in 10 years? What is it going to be like in 20 years? What do we want it to be like? Do we want this change to continue? Do we want it to change in different ways? So if you can illustrate that in a story of, okay, here's a story about, a great version of Little Tokyo, or here's what happened in Little Tokyo that it went, the change happened and it lost its character. That could be a good story too. And I think we have seen some stories that were kind of set in the future of people trying to recover the old Little Tokyo or even the current Little Tokyo because it had changed in ways that all cities change, and it's not always what we want. So that can be a great topic for a story.
Thank you. Good answer.
A very
Yes.
important discussion going on right now of development in Little Tokyo, and
Yes.
and does Little Tokyo lose its character?
Right. There is a comment in the chat from Emi Yamasaki. If you use the name of an actual store, building in Little Tokyo in your story, would you need to seek permission to use the name first? In the past, we have not had that as a requirement. Many, I would say all of the stories, or the majority, refer to a business in Little Tokyo that is part of the narrative. So yes, you can. You don't have to use get permission. And let's say if it does win, it's published in the Rafu Shimpo, Discover Nikkei, as well as the LTHS website, and that's more of a plug for those businesses as well. So I hope that
we
answers
have
your question.
had so many stories that were set or involved or somehow went through Fugetsudo with the mochi, which we love, but I think we had too many stories that had to do with Fugetsudo, that some variety might be nice. But yeah, absolutely, no problem mentioning any public, stores um, or things that take place in real life. And yeah, it is about Little Tokyo, so write about Little Tokyo as you walk around. That's not a problem.
Right. Yes, I think as echoing DC's, if you have the opportunity to come to LA and Little Tokyo itself, as you stroll around, again, within the 3 blocks by 3 blocks, or even just outside, where the Saint Francis Xavier Japanese Catholic Church is located, the oldest Japanese Catholic church in the nation, Nishi Honganji Buddhist temples just east of Alameda. Um, there are some great ideas if you just look at other parts of the neighborhood instead of, let's say, focusing on Fugetsudo or this or another business that we've seen kind of over and over and over. Make it a little bit different, but it's really up to you. And those folks who don't have the opportunity to come to the neighborhood, there again is a wealth of information on the internet about Little Tokyo. You can use that, and through your creativity, this is where you make that sight or sound or smell really come to life as if you are in the neighborhood, and you could really share that emotion to the readers. Let's see, what else do we have in the chat? I see Bill Watanabe comments, a young writer walking through Little Tokyo saw an old man sitting by himself on a bench, and that became a winning story. So yes, it's there is plenty of time to think about it, and again, the adult English might approach it differently. The Japanese language category might approach it differently, as well as the youth. But these are all wonderful, wonderful stories. We enjoy reading all of them. And again, I hope by participating that it sparks an interest in further writing as a writer. And just branch off into that. And we do have, Naomi Hirahara is a well-known and well-respected author, and she is going to be launching her new book, Crown City, very, very soon. That takes place in the Crown City of Pasadena. So it's a Japanese-American story. Any other questions that you might have out there? Thinking about what you can write about, huh? Okay. All right, DC.
Thank you, Mike. And Satsuki, great translation.
Thank you, Satsuki-san.
All right, so I guess time to wrap up. Thank you all for coming, and looking forward to reading your stories.
Thank you, everyone.
頑張って、面白いお話作ってください。
はい、頑張り
は
ます。
い。頑張ってください。はい。
ありがとうございました。
はい。Thank you.